Hello, everyone. Welcome to another one of SIG Instrumentation um, agenda discussion calls. We'll go in order based on the entries here, starting with Catherine.
Yeah, the first topic I want to discuss. Oh, I think we are looking
Oh,
at July 31. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the first one about the top control name. Uh, so if you open the pull request, so the problem is that for downscreen, when we want to aggregate data based on the deploy name or daemon set, nowadays it's very tricky. Nowadays we need to guess, for example, get a pod and guess what's my top control name. So it has some red gas or something. So my proposal is that we just inject the top control name into the pod itself. For example, for job set controller, it already did that. So when job set controller creates a pod, it will tell the pod itself, okay, your top controller name is A or B. So my proposal to end the control name into the pod, and then KSM is able to get the top control name from the cube node cube cube node label or cube node annotation metric, and then we can join this metric with other metrics, so we are able to do the aggregation for the metrics, so we can get all the CPU and memory average for all the deployments or daemon set. Yeah, so currently, yes, that's my.
Yeah, I wonder, like, because today we could do that with with the metrics that have owner suffix. So essentially, for a pod, the owner would point to the replica set, which in turn the owner of the replica set would point to the deployment.
Yeah,
This
but
ended
the,
yeah.
with quite a big query, but like we can still trace from a pod to its original owner or from a job to the job set related to it.
but currently you need to do two, like look back. For example, it's deployment, replica set, and then the job. For KSM metric, we
Yes.
only look at the pod level. Yeah, so we are not able. If so basically for downstream, we are doing some crazy things. We are joining all the results together. It's very painful. So if we have this simple change, it can reduce the downstream integration much easier.
Isn't
Yeah, you
this,
essentially like, oh, sorry. Yeah, I
sorry,
just wanted to
I'm,
add, like, my
yeah.
understanding is that you want to skip the burden of handling the replica set and just have have it point to the deployment directly.
Yes, it's called
Yeah.
top one. Yeah.
Would
So I
that
have
be
a right.
really, sorry, I'm just
Yeah.
concerned if, wouldn't that be really involved? Because implicitly, of course, we are talking about going against an established pattern, which is, you know, not that big of a concern. Um, the current pattern is to just, look through all the references and work your way up. But um, wouldn't we reconcile a lot based on, if that top level controller becomes a child of some other entity, and then that needs to be reflected into pods?
Did
I
you, are you suggesting to change the spec here or just add an annotation?
Just an
annotation.
annotation.
Yeah,
It's
so I
similar
don't
to
think any reconciliation will happen in Crunchyroll based on that
yeah,
information. It's just storing extra information in
like
annotations.
and the drop set. Yeah, control and drop set control already is that. So basically, all the popular AI framework already is that. Only our very old core result type doesn't have this stable.
So reconciliation might happen if we are watching those resources, I believe. So um, if there's a change and I'm watching the metadata, then you know, I need to update um, my cache with what the set of annotations are. So this might seep into the performance implications for third-party operators. I don't expect it to be much, but um, the problem that I see with this is there's already an established pattern with owner references where you work your way up. And that works because you can make that dynamic, because in that chain, other entities can go in. But once you have a pod and you have an annotation, there's going to be some delay before that reflects. But if you work your way up, then it's immediate, right? Where
So basically, first of all, it's a solve the problem. So drop set control is able to do that without any issue. So basically, this one should be like technical feasible. Another thing, when we do we did do the look back in our downstream. The problem is that we need to have three informers, drop set, for example, deployment informer and the replica set informer and the pod informer. It's too much, and we need to join together. Also, we need to maintain states because we don't know which informer will come first. So that's a pain point for downstream. If we do this way, it will be still late. So basically, we are doing streaming processing where when we process one pod, we just go.
Yeah, I think with job set controller, it's different because job set controller is always a fixed entity, and it's a job set controller. So if the job set controller is deployed by an operator, then we are talking about a different top level controller and a different job set controller. For example, in a cron job, or the
we
job
will
where,
follow the
yeah.
we will follow same thing as the job set controller. If the job set is created by another thing, the label is still job set, not the another controller. Yes, same. So basically, that's a result type. Yeah.
But that doesn't reflect the top controller anymore, then, does it?
Yeah, that's maybe top resource name or something. Yeah. The name is a bit confusion. Yes, basically I want to get the, because for user, for me, I'm the controller. I can deploy a lot of resources. I don't care about others. I only care one, for example, deployments and daemon sets. Maybe top resource names is better.
Okay. And in what case would the top resource name, for example, in this particular case where a job set applies, to all its resources, a job set controller, and then that job set, let's say, is deployed by an operator. So what would be that boundary between a top level resource, which a job set controller is, and a top level controller? Because what happens if that top level controller allows users to configure that through a CRD? Because then the top level resource is not a job set controller, a job set anymore. It's the CRD that's deploying that job set controller, right? Because these are both resources then. And the top level controller is the operator. But that's fine. But we have this change now in that chain of that hierarchy. So it just sounds a bit involved to me, and something that already has a pattern, I believe. I don't know how this fits in parallel to that, or does it go completely against that? Does it need to go completely against that? But yeah, you can always draft a cap.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
There's an example in the last pull request. Last one. Where is it? Oh, not ready for review. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think your point that basically the name is not very meaningful. It's not the
yeah, it's
yeah,
we could see if there is a flapping that's going on, then pods will be affected by that. But in that, if there's any flapping whatsoever in that chain of hierarchy, then pods will be affected by that. Like they would constantly be changing their annotations. And when that happens, controllers that do not care about, let's say, lock safe updates on their resources or very sophisticated, is there a way to lock these? Because
so
I mean,
you can look at the
there is a way to log these, but then again, you would kind of queue those changes up, and then you would ideally see more up the 8 may be failing because if there's a flapping of any kind, because a lot of things now depend on the pod's manifest and need to be
Yeah.
reflected there again and again.
Yeah, basically, I said before, this one is solve the problem, job set of a controller, and the read controller already did that. So basically, it should be technical feasible, like feasible. I can train the name later, yeah, and discuss the thing. Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
this one
yeah.
is just so this pull request is just integrate with the server side sharding. So so we have teammates who implement the server side sharding, and I'm thinking when is the best time for us to integrate this feature, because this feature is still in alpha stage. So I'm thinking, should we integrate this feature like when it's enter into beta, or it's okay to have a feature which is still in alpha stage? It's not in beta.
I think it's good to have it, like, even if the feature is alpha, it, like, user will have to first turn on the feature gate in Kubernetes and then turn on the flag in kubestate metrics.
I
So we
see.
still have like some protection mechanism. And if we start enabling this feature, or like enabling the option in KSM, I think it's a good way for the feature implementers to actually test their features. So I think the sooner the better. Like I would be fine with adding it now, just marking it as like experimental, like you did,
I see.
because the feature is not yet stable, so we cannot really rely on it fully. But I think it's a good approach
I
to do
see.
it now, at least.
Yeah, I test the scalability part for KSM recently. I think after we merge the streaming one, the scalability issue is better. After we merge the server side sharding one, it should be better, but I haven't tested yet. So basically, this one. So currently in the KSM sharding, for example, if we have 10 replicas, each replica will receive the 4 objects from the API server. After we integrate with this feature, it only receive partial of the events. So the API server memory and CPU should be a little bit smaller, or yeah. So we are able to do the real sharding soon. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as we mark the feature or like the option as experimental in KSM, I think like it's fine. Even if the performance are worse, or even if you didn't actually measure them yet, I think it's fine.
I see.
Like marking it as experimental doesn't guarantee anything for the users. So maybe we can add a comment as like, this is not yet, like this is still in development in the option itself, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. From a user standpoint, this makes sense. My only concern regarding, what I posted here, was how this fares well for maintainers, because if there's a major change, there's multiple alpha features going forward, and we set a precedent here, then that might require refactoring that could be avoided if we kind of waited for beta. But I don't have any strong opinions there. If
I
this, I
think
mean,
this brings one thing I wanted to ask, like, is there currently a fallback mechanism? Like, let's say someone in KSM enabled this option, but they are running Kubernetes 135, or even like just the feature is not turned on yet. Do we fall back to another sharding, or like the normal sharding pathway, or just like put an error? Like if we fall back, I think everything is fine.
Let's see. I will double check. So basically, the server side supports the fallback, but I need to double check my chain to make sure it supports fallback. Yeah.
May I suggest also opening up an issue in the KSM repo? Because I remember previously there were some participants in the call that were trying to have some sort of auto sharding in KSM. It would be good to just, make them aware that there is this effort going on. And we
I see.
can, yeah, if there is any like new discovery or findings that we find out during the implementation, we can have a discussion in that dedicated space. I feel like this is a good feature for KSM, so it deserves its own issue, kind of. That's why.
Yeah, for KSM, this has had a few discussions in the past.
Yeah, I think the KSM scalability issue will be done by end of this year. So you should be able to scale if the server-side sharding is working to be. So currently the only bottleneck is about the API server-side, because if we increase the number of replicas, each replica will receive more, we'll build a connection with API server.
Yeah, it's almost like a KEP for KSM. So let's make sure that we're like documenting it nicely and advertising it nicely to people.
Another thing, we should try to get this pull request merged. Let me sure. So I think this person is trying to. I think here. I think so we discussed this one last week, and now I think everyone's here. So basically, our conclusion is that we can reduce number of the streams from the metric without any flag. If everyone green, so we can reply to the pull request, and we can help the person merge the pull request. I send in the chat. Oh, there's a more thing. Okay. Oh yeah. You two can go first. Sorry. Yeah, Richard and Pranshu can go first. Yeah.
Oh, I just carried forward this issue. Basically, I'm just forwarding this question from Alvaro, and this is especially for Damien, because I think we wanted your input for this. So Alvaro had reached out like quite a few months back, and he was asking that there is this open issue in Kubernetes for client Go metrics, where for client Go metric adapters, we have surrounded the adapter registration around a sync.once. And he was asking, why are we doing that? Because I think for controller runtime, they are doing their, like they have their own Prometheus registry. So they are registering their metrics there. But they also want to give their users an option of providing their own registry to have these metrics registered over there. And so the sync.once conflicts with that. So his idea was, why don't we just accept like a list or a slice of adapters so that we are registering all adapters and not just the first one that the sync.once does?
Instead of using a sync.once, can we, I think Prometheus returns a typed error, like a already registered or something.
Yes.
Can we specific, but I think the instrument you get back still works or something like that. I wonder if we can just like handle that error gracefully so that calling it multiple times is fine. Or am I misunderstanding the problem?
I think their problem was that they couldn't override the metrics themselves.
So we just
If
want
I
to be able
remember
to
correctly, because
accept
that
the
was
registry as configuration.
Yes, that's what
I think
said.
that's fine.
But I think in the past there was opposition saying that if you start doing that, then the behavior will not be deterministic. So we can't guarantee what we're kind of registering, and that made people reject this proposal.
And correct me if I'm wrong,
I don't think it was really rejected, was it?
Or at least the discussion died down. That was the main like opposition point that I could find out from the comments. But I was wondering if you guys have like more context about this, because you were involved in the discussion.
I think we talked about Richard, last time. I think we talked about Alvaro. I may be wrong about this, but he suggested changing, like appending to the underlying data structure itself and calling the registry once, because that's where it's kind of locked. And that's, a one-time kind of thing where you need to just register once, but the underlying registry, multiple inits can register to it, append to it, and we register once. But again, that would, I'm not sure how that works between different projects and in the existing code bases where there's already a sync once and a register function. Because as it is right now, I don't think in component base we allow registering again and again. And even if it should be, I mean, everything is thread safe, but I don't think we allow that in the first place.
Yeah, so it's the question of whether do we allow them to do that? There is an open PR like linked here, right? He says that we should be doing this. Can we open that and see in the description?
Oh.
The link below that.
This one?
No, this is the issue, I think. So there's a link below that in the previous page. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that also an issue? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Where's the PR?
There's
The
one here, but
the one below that, the 116616.
Okay.
I think it's a one-line change, but maybe there's some discussion over there.
I'm not sure about this. And if I had to guess, this is close because this is not safe.
Yeah, I wonder if it's not concurrent safe or something.
I think there could be data races, but what do you have to use to get this reliable results? Like initialization out. Yes. Seems like a bad idea. Hold, and close. Yeah.
Okay.
Same issue. And I think we want something that addresses races, but also doesn't break existing implementations. If a solution exists, it's starting to get involved. I'm not sure even if we can do much without breaking things, but
Yeah, that was my main concern. Sorry, my Zoom crashed, so I missed a lot of it. But yeah, my main concern was that we didn't want it to break any of the libraries that were already relying on the metrics, but not modifying them. And yeah, the problem is like it's hard to do that, or at least I didn't find a path back when I looked like briefly into it to make sure that we don't break anyone, but still accommodate for anyone that wants to customize the metrics, like they should be able to.
So even like accepting a slice of registries or like providers and then making sure that all of them get registered, that is not a path forward.
Yeah, the problem with this is every code base would need to move to manipulate the underlying data structure instead of registering the registry, basically. So it's going to be breaking. So we can either be breaking and accomplish this, but then it would be an ecosystem-wide break. And then I'm not sure about how this fares into component base itself, because we would need to have some helpers to propagate that expectation across components as well, where we tell them, hey, don't use registries anymore, manipulate the underlying metrics provider. So yeah, it's going to be.
Why would we need to do that for like a cross component base though? It should only be for client Go metrics that are using the metrics provider, right?
I believe it needs to be done for everything that's in that init chain across the import cycle. So anyone who would need to, starting with this, we would need to see how many inits are overriding the init that we are registering, basically. And we would need to go through all those repositories and make sure that they manipulate the underlying metrics provider, and then the registry is registered basically just once in our code base. And there should be then ideally a way to kind of detect and not register a registry if it's the last, if it's the leaf repository, so to speak. But yeah, I could be missing something.
What's the path forward then? Do you want to leave some comments on the issue? Because he pinged me again about it. I think he's expecting a response from us soon.
Does Alvaro have any anything, any idea, something that he's punting?
I think everything is captured in the issue. He just wants to know why we can't get rid of the sync.once. There is some Slack threads also in the past that he was pointing to me. Maybe let me start with a comment on the issue. I will summarize everything, and then we can carry the discussion forward there.
Yeah, I can try to have another look at it as well. Like, I don't remember the whole context, but maybe I have new ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe a fresh.
Okay.
That would benefit it.
I see we're over time, so feel free to move any discussions you might want to carry forward in the next section. Thank you everyone for joining. I will see you folks next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.